And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, another day. It is another closer day, I guess, to getting August over with and welcoming in September 2022. It's, I guess, the good Lord, August 30th, 2022. Great to be here on the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel and also at the sportsguys podcast.com. Yours truly back alongside Nick Canizales, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMax.com, and our friends over at Hank Jr. Productions. Appreciate all the work that our sponsors do. And, of course, the big show's coming up this week. Saturday night, Pedrati's over there in Helotes, where I got married at, too, which is a great place out there. You folks can make it out there. Doors at 5. And, of course, the Nick Lawrence Band will take the stage at 6 o'clock. And welcoming in our guest today, he's a part of that lineup today. Andy Griggs joins us here on the Backstage Pass alongside Nick. Andy, what's up, buddy?
Brandon, Nick, how you guys doing?
What's going on, my man?
Hey, you're hanging in there.
You're talking about ending August. How hot has Texas, where you're at, how hot has it been this August?
It's been pretty hot. Now, like last 3 weeks, we've had so much rain, so we have been actually had lower than normal temperatures. It's normal is about 92, 93, but July it was over 100 pretty much every day. Heat index 105, 106.
Right.
I mean,
right.
brutal.
Yeah. I'm from Monroe, Louisiana, and we share y'all's weather, y'all's heat index. I swear. Now I'm old school. I was going to Rangers games in Dallas back when they still had middle of the day games in July. Back then, before everybody started having heat strokes.
Hey, they just had that new ballpark. 2 years ago? They finally built the indoor ballpark, which they needed it for a long time. I used to melt when I lived in Waco. We would drive up to Arlington, and I'm telling you, we would melt out there. It would be so bad.
Dude, hey Nick, that. How do you think Nolan Ryan pitched so fast? Man, his arm was like a big old tube of Bengay.
Exactly. And Nolan Ryan's my idol. That is he. I named my son's middle name is Nolan. So,
oh wow, okay, yeah.
And my middle name is Ryan. So just so coincidentally, Nolan Ryan is in our name.
He pitched till he was 45, no doubt one of the greatest of all time. Hey, big show coming up this week. Tickets at FullCircleMomentsLLC.com, also TicketBud.com. We're also going to give away a pair coming up here in the broadcast. But hey, I love this quote because I know you did an audio show with me a couple of years ago, and I'll never forget this quote you told me off air. It's like when you jumped into that pool of music, it's like you jumped into that deep end and you never came out. And I'll never forget that quote you said. Just talk about that and just the love of music. And I mean, being around it your whole life and knowing that this was your calling.
Well, it's hard to know what your calling is when you're young and I don't know. I was actually a late bloomer. My brother was the one that was born with a guitar in his hand. And as much as I was a music fan, I never played, actually played music, I was born and raised on everything that you can be born and raised on. I mean, as a teenager, it was nothing to listen to Black Sabbath and then turn around and listen to Patsy Cline and then everybody in between. It was just a big old pot of gumbo as far as music is concerned. But it was my brother passing away that made me actually pick up his guitar, and I was 18, so probably a 19-year-old kid trying to grieve over his brother learning a chord here and a chord there over his guitar. That would be my story. And yeah, I remember telling you that when I jumped in deep, and I never came back up for air. I never did. Never.
Hey Andy, when you were breaking into the business, was there anybody you reached out to kind of figure out, hey, how does this music industry go, and what type of advice did you even get about the music industry in general?
The person that gave me the most was my friend Waylon Jennings, and I went to him for advice more than anybody else. And I was a member of a bluegrass gospel group out of Alabama called the Sullivans, and Waylon was a fan of it. So that's how we first met. Long story short, we did a duet on my first album, and then some bunch of shows together, and it got to where we were just friends. He would call me up and say, "Hey, Jesse's cooking lasagna tonight. You want to come over and eat some lasagna?" That kind of. But I went to him about advice concerning what you're talking about, Nick. how do you approach a record label over this? How does this work versus a publishing company? Yeah, I would call Waylon.
When you look at just a family being influenced, you mentioned your brother too, but also tell that story you told last time with me. Your dad, praise and worship leader at your church there too. Dad was a huge influence, right?
Yeah. Daddy was, we were big music mainly because of Daddy. So he was the music leader, assistant pastor at the church. And, we kind of lived by a double standard because he didn't like rock and roll. I had to hide my Queen albums under my mat. My little Michael Jackson 45 Beat It, I had to hide it under my mattress because secular music wasn't allowed. But my daddy had his Johnny Cash and his Hank Williams Sr. So, it kind of went by that. I think every household down there kind of went by that. But yeah, he was, all of the Merle Haggard stuff. And I learned how deep music was. I guess my first experience with going into a dark room of music was when my daddy passed away. Me and my brother went and sat down and turned the lights out and listened to one of his Merle Haggard albums, and that was the first deep, dark dungeon room that music can actually bring you to. I would have been 10 years old, and so that's where music started really, having a big weight in my heart.
Now, when one breaks into the music industry, sometimes you're single, you have no responsibilities. Then later on, you get married, you start having kids. How do you juggle? How do you find that fine balance between music, and music takes up a lot of time, and you have to live, breathe, eat it, and then also juggling with your family as well. You got to find that. How do you find that fine balance?
Man, that's a tough one because I hate to say this, but the percentage of successful marriages that stay successful when there's music or acting or any kind of entertainment like that, it's low numbers because it's an adulterous lady. I have found that out. Music is it's always pulling you out. It's always dragging you out of the house, and you do miss out on things. Never had a kid, younger wise when married and this and that, but you're always going and you're always chasing the wheel. It's a very demanding lady that demands a lot out of you. And that's why music business, not music, but music business is a bittersweet, adulterous lady. It really is.
Good way to put it, too. A great way to describe it, no doubt. All right, I'm going to throw out the trivia question. We'll hit on it right now, just giving the question out. If we do get a winner, we'll put them on the screen here. So what was the personal milestone? It's for a chance for some VIP tickets to the show coming up this week. Pedrati's Ranch, San Antonio, Texas, Lotus, Texas out there. Saturday night there, you can get tickets. You can buy tickets at FullCircleMomentsLLC.com or at TicketBug.com. It's Chris Cagle, Andy Griggs, and the Nick Lawrence Band is the entire lineup. We'll be there doing some MC stuff and I'm sure shaking a lot of hands, listening to some great music. What personal milestone did Andy Griggs achieve this year? And you got to be very specific with what we're looking for. So professional milestone. What professional milestone, I'll stand corrected there, did Andy Griggs receive this year? And definitely we'll hit on that toward the end of the broadcast. Hey, 2 number ones, 5 top 5s, 4 other top 10s. And people say it's always hard to push it out through the radio. And I was talking to Chris yesterday, and so much, you're right, has changed since you guys came knocking on the door. But man, you had some special songs that even today will never be forgotten, at least in my book. Sirius XM, Prime Country, and all these great songs. You were lucky to be just a hell of a writer and also come across these songs like You Won't Ever Be Lonely, She's More, She Thinks She Needs Me. And could you imagine 15, 20 years later, we're still talking about those songs?
No, I never would have thought that. Believe it or not, to me, the gift that keeps on giving, song wise, I wished I could say that I wrote it. I didn't, but If Heaven is just, as far as dynamics are concerned, I would have to say You Won't Ever Be Lonely, because that was my first single and my first number 1 hit. So it definitely set the stage and it laid all the plywood down, and that plywood still stands. But I don't know. I sang If Heaven for me and my mama, Brandon, and we've had a lot of losses in our lives. So, that was between she and I. And I never, I guess what I'm trying to say is when we released it as a single, I realized it was bigger than just me, mama. That would go to other people's story, and it still does. It still does today. So, I am amazed. I guess that's the power of music. I'm amazed at how If Heaven still churns and churns and churns butter all the time, and no matter where I'm at, and if Heaven, it just keeps on. It keeps on giving. Yeah.
Andy, it's amazing the music industry, how much it's changed over the last 50 years, and 8-tracks and vinyls and CDs, cassette tapes, and now YouTube and Spotify, SoundCloud, everything is streaming. How much has this music industry evolved and changed, and having to adapt to the kind of the new times here?
Well, that's the magical question: is how do you adapt? And some people did, some people didn't, some people are still trying. Heck, man, I still struggle with it. That's whether it's the music itself that's going on or whether it's the music business. You're right. You don't sell CDs anymore. You don't, there is a way now to own your own masters. You don't have to go through a record label, that kind of stuff. When streaming very first started, the songwriters started losing money. And, when I first started out, the one who made the most money was songwriters, so the whole ball game has changed. I mean, it's gone from, it's gone from Fenway Park to some crazy European soccer field that we don't know nothing about, that kind of a thing. So it is, learning how to adjust. And at the end of the day, to me, it's still just about the music. If I continue doing what I love to do and I don't bend, I don't want to waver, I don't give up anything. I want it to be heartful. I want it to be my own soul. It'll find its way somehow. It'll find its way. And whether I understand it or not, I try to surround myself with people who do understand it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it, no doubt. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn it over to you if you'd like to play a little something for us here on the show, Guitar Close, and we'll get a little preview. Again, Saturday night, Pedrati's Ranch, San Antonio, Texas, out there. Andy Griggs, Chris Cagle, the Nick Lawrence Band. Doors open at 5. Concert begins at 6. We'll see you out there with the Backstage Pass and all other great sponsors that put this event together. Full Circle Moments, LLC.com to buy tickets, and also ticketbud.com. Just Google the names, it'll come up. Plus, we got a link on the website and, of course, all over social media where you guys can buy tickets. Again, we're giving away tickets today. What was the professional milestone that Andy received this year? If you got the answer to that, leave in the comment box. We'll hook you up with a couple of VIP tickets. Andy, it's all yours, brother.
All right, hang on. Let me grab my capo. Hang on a second.
All right. That'll work. He's such a great artist, Nick. We've had him on before on the audio side, too. And he's right. Those songs do resonate, man. They really do. I just listen to them every day.
Yeah, I mean, they don't go away. And I'll tell you what, and now you have like TikTok and all this other stuff that it's bringing the old nostalgia songs back. And a lot of kids think that some of these songs just happened last year, 2 years ago. Don't realize it's been many, many, many years. So that's a good thing about social media. These new kids are finding out about these old songs, and hey, they never die.
Right. Andy, it's all yours, brother. Here we go.
All right. So I'll give you a little piece of If Heaven, since that's the song that we were just talking about. If heaven was an hour, sorry, it'd be twilight. The fireflies are dancing on the lawn. Supper's on the stove and I hear my mama laughing. And everybody's working day is done. If heaven was a town, that'd be my town. On a summer day in 1985. 'Cause everything I wanted was still out there waiting on me. And everyone I've loved, they were still alive. So don't cry a tear for me now, baby. There comes a time that we all must say goodbye. Don't cry a tear for me now, baby. If that's what heaven's made of, I ain't afraid to die. I ain't afraid to die.
There it is right there. The great Andy Griggs here on the Backstage Pass. If Heaven, one of the big hits out there back in the day. We'll take a quick timeout. Coming back here, pay a little bills for our sponsors. We'll come back, ask Andy about some new projects going on too. And of course, the big show this Saturday night. We'll be there, Helotes, Texas, Pedrati's Ranch, where I got married. Just a beautiful, beautiful venue, indoor, outdoor. It's a great host out there. So looking forward to seeing those folks again, too. And, of course, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com and ticketbud.com. If you want to buy tickets to that show, it's Andy Griggs, Chris Cagle, and the Nick Lawrence Band. Doors open at 5. Concert begins at 6. And we're giving away a pair of tickets today for the professional milestone. If you know the answer, leave it in the comment box. What professional milestone did Andy Griggs receive this year? And you got to be specific. Coming back here on the Backstage Pass, it's Brandon, it's Nick. We're live on the YouTube channel and at the sportsguyspodcast.com. More to come with Andy Griggs. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, it is the Backstage Pass, of course, tomorrow. So a couple of great shows. Nashville recording artist and Canadian Olivia Rose will join us. Also, Atlanta Springsteen will drop by, too, at the same time. Looking forward to that. And here in a couple of weeks, a powerhouse, Megan Patrick, coming here on the program. She's doing big things out there, from Canada to Warner Music to her label now. So Megan Patrick coming here on the show. Gearing up for the big show. Speaking of shows, this Saturday night, Pedrati's Ranch, San Antonio, Texas. Or Helotes to be specific out there. Andy Griggs, Chris Cagle, and the Nick Lawrence Band out there. Full Circle Moments, LLC.com and ticketbud.com. You can go out there and get tickets now. Pleased to be joined by Andy today. So I wanted to ask you about this because a lot of cool things out there. I've seen you perform live before. You got a great chemistry, Andy, with the boys in the band. Talk about that, because if you're not on the same page, people know, just like a sports team at the same time, you're not good with your teammates, things get erratic. You got a good deal out there with your boys in the band, right?
Yeah, man, I really do. When COVID hit, everybody's touring stopped. Everything was dead for about, in the entertainment business, things were gone for 18 months, something like that. I mean, it was, and I thought, man, okay, maybe this is a time. This is the first time that I thought, because I've had different band changes here and there, but I thought this is maybe a time to where I make a big change, and so I did. I turned a few players into different positions, and then grabbed another few players. Just basically came up with a new band, new chemistry. So this is still young and fresh with me. I mean, this band hasn't. This is only 2022. So we've only been together for about a year or so, something like that. So yeah, this is you're talking about chemistry with the guys and how important it is. It means everything. It means absolutely everything. You're right. It's just like a baseball or football team. So every it has still got that young excitement. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing Cagle, and me and Cagle aren't close because we don't see each other but once every couple of years. But I love the snot out of him. I hope he loves me, and it's going to be a fun, very entertaining evening. I guarantee you there won't be a dull moment the whole evening.
You took the question out of my mouth. I was going to ask you about how exciting this is for this weekend, and what is it like to play in front of a live audience? I know that we talked to a lot of artists, like, man, there's nothing like it. The adrenaline, and it's just almost like a drug that you just, man, it's nothing like playing in front of a crowd, and you pretty much have them in the palm of your hands and get this crowd energetic.
Every crowd and every night is different. It is. I guess that's what keeps you coming back for more, because it's always different. If it was the same drug, you'd get worn out on it. But it's not the same drug. That drug changes every night. It really does.
Hey, speaking of hobbies outside of music, people know me know I have this segment called Rapid Fire. We're going to start it a little bit early today, and we'll see if we get a winner here. Again, it's Louisiana Saturday night in Texas. Going to be an awesome concert and dance out there this Saturday night. September 3rd, Pedrati's Ranch. It's Andy Griggs, Chris Cagle, the Nick Lawrence Band. Doors at 5. Concert begins at 6. What professional milestone did Andy receive this year? Be specific. You win a pair of VIP tickets to the show coming up this week. So I know with September 1st coming around, hobbies being away from music, you like to hunt. And I've seen this picture on the website you told me a while back where, man, you had gotten a pretty good kill of a deer, and it had some pretty. Actually, I can't really say it was a deer, but it was just a large animal. Was it a moose? It had some big horns.
It was an elk.
It's an elk. Okay.
I
said, man, I got to ask him about that too, because that had to be the prize kill forever, right?
Man, that was my bucket list. Yeah, heck yeah, man. That was like the it of all is. That was Dale Earnhardt. I killed Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Woo, that's huge. Man. If you want to check out the photo, go to andygriggs.com, because it is right below the bio. And I looked at it earlier today. I said, I'm going to ask him about that. That was a dream kill. That's the kill of all kills right there.
Man, I just hung. Check this out. I just hung yesterday. I just hung this hog.
Oh,
this is Georgia hog. Look at his teeth. Can you see his?
Look at that.
Let's see here.
Holy smoke!
Got some teeth on the boy. They don't play around with them hogs.
Woo, you got long hair.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy. All right. Tell me about cooking wise. Hey, what's your favorite thing to cook out there? What's your specialty?
My favorite thing to eat in the wild kingdom, probably teal. Do you guys duck hunt any?
I used to.
I don't.
But I love it. It does taste good. My brother does, and he's made it before, and it tastes really good. It does.
Yeah, I would have to say teal, but man, you can't beat a whitetail backstrap. Axis deer out there. I've killed an axis deer out there in Texas. That's really good. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a liar. I've tasted some stuff that tasted like a bad rotten shoe. But I do love cooking wild game. I really do. That's nice. One of my favorite things. I'd rather cook wild game than a store-bought steak. Yeah.
Really?
One of the best deers I ever got was a ranch up there, West Texas, toward Kerrville one year. And man, Axis Andy was enough said right there. You
it's just like sushi.
Yeah. You gotta just try it. It was expensive, but hey, it was a lifetime thing for me. And I made the crap out of some like spaghetti with that Axis meat mixed with some other pork and stuff, and chili. Oh my God, dude! A bowl of chili with that.
Yeah. Oh, that's you're making me hungry. I would say Axis deer is probably at the top of the list. Yeah.
I love that too. All right, let's do this one here. When it comes to drinks and things like that, what do you get into? Soda, tea, water, alcoholic, non-alcoholic? What do you like the most?
That depends on what I'm doing. I like a little Tennessee whiskey when I'm singing. Sure. I'm a big Mountain Dew guy. I know that's not the most healthiest thing in the world. But since I've gotten older, I prefer unsweet tea over sweet tea.
Oh man.
I know it's the cardinal sin. Blasphemy. I know it is. I guess it's because I don't know my taste buds. To me, it just seems like sweet tea is getting too sweet. Now I do like half and half.
Yeah.
I try to drink as much water as I can a day, but I kind of fall short here and there. But like if I'm out hunting and stuff like that, I'll go through 3 or 4 bottles of water. I'm a Dr. Pepper fan.
I like that. Well, that's what I tried to get off of was those sodas, but here I'm drinking one right now. No caffeine,
Yeah,
but like the
yeah.
root beer. You know, it's like that's what you come.
I
on.
got me a smoothie right now. I got to have a
That's
smoothie.
what I should be drinking.
I like the blueberry smoothies. Is that Smoothie
What?
King? Is that
Smoothie King is a strawberry banana. Strawberry banana smoothie.
Okay.
I like that.
When I'm singing, man, I'll be. To me, my favorite Tennessee whiskey is George Dickel. So, I like a little warm George Dickel sometimes.
it's
All right,
you can't
Andy.
go wrong with that. Go ahead, you got it.
Let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. Dream vacation. Where's it at?
Well, are you with a woman or are you with the guys? Which one?
You know what? That's a great. Hey, you know what? That's a great question. Let's do both then. Hey, with the guys and with the woman.
Okay, dream vacation with the woman. I've probably done it Alaska with Amber, watching the northern lights in a cabin with 2 feet of snow.
Oh, that's nice.
And there's nothing to do but keep yourselves warm, and you know, and there's very little daylight out, or very, you know, probably 8 hours or 7 hours of daylight, and we were there to see the northern lights, and we did the whole ice fishing, all of that thing. But yeah, I would say that was my bucket list. Now, if it was the 3 of us going, man, probably some cabin in late September where the elk are bugling, probably somewhere in the middle of Montana. And
oh yes, and I don't care. I love Montana. That's just one of my favorite states. I love it up there.
Yeah. That to me, that would probably be we're kind of toughing it a little bit. You know, we're having just a little bit. We're having to catch our own food or kill our own food. And there's not a shortage of Dr. Pepper and George Dickel or water.
We'll take it.
I'll be like, what was the movie I grew up on? The Jack London. We'll do a little White Fang, hang out in the cabin and just enjoy White Fang. That was one of my favorite movies growing up, and we'll just we'll take it and read books and you know, like I said, burn stuff, create our own fires, and just live off the land. I've done that before too. We got to do that, so it's all we got.
I would hate going home after that. I would hate.
All right. Well, I know you're a baseball fanatic too. And a lot of people, you know, talk about this, you know, the Rangers going through changes, things like that with the firing of Chris Woodward this year. But I got to ask you, there's a pretty good baseball team going down I-10 from where I'm from here, 82 and 47. Are you been keeping up with those Houston Astros?
Yeah, I have. Man, I've I still have to go see Verlander pitch.
Yeah.
Before it's said and done. He, you know, a matter of fact, he pitched a great game the other night, didn't he?
He did. He left with a calf injury. He's on a 15-day IL right now with a calf injury.
Yeah, they had a double box going on, and he was kind of running back and forth, right?
Yeah.
But he has been phenomenal. 39 years old, down the youth.
Yeah, so I've been following. Man, I was actually going to the Stros games when Craig Biggio was a. I remember going to him when he was a rookie and he was a catcher. If you remember, he was a catcher for the first 2 years.
88, 87, 88, 89.
Yeah. So that's, you know, I started going to the Stros then, watching those guys. So of course I keep up with the Stros. I keep up with a lot of them, but probably the biggest guy that I keep up with as far as stats and all is Verlander, and when he pitches. And I'm sure if I miss the game, I will definitely be there by 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night on ESPN trying to see what his numbers were. You know,
phenomenal. He said, yes.
Yeah. Football season's here. College football and NFL. Who's your 2 favorite teams from that?
Well, you know I'm a Louisiana boy, so I mean it's got purple.
Is it the Warhawks? Louisiana Monroe Warhawks?
Well, no, I did go there. So I did go to Louisiana Monroe. Back then it was NLU. So
NLU. Yeah.
So LSU Tigers, and as far as pro, of course, the Saints. But man, I'm such a fan. I watch it all. Like me and Amber were just having lunch 2 hours ago, and in the background they were playing last year's Michigan versus Ohio State. And man, I couldn't, even though I knew the outcome, I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. You know, Michigan beating Ohio State.
Yeah,
you know, I was just, you know, if me and you went to Mars right now, we went to Mars, a Martian would be talking about the Michigan Ohio State football game.
I concur with that, no doubt. It would be good right there too. So I love it, man. Always when you come on, brother.
So what do you guys think about Texas and Oklahoma coming over on SEC side?
Man, look, it's all about money. Look, here's my take. Texas hasn't been able to compete in the Big 12 since they won the national championship in 05. They had that one good year, I think in 2018, they won the Sugar Bowl. That's about it. They have one of the best recruiting classes every single year, and they fall short. It's disappointing because I think when Texas is good, it makes everybody good. But man, they are the Dallas Cowboys of college football, which I'm a Cowboys fan, but they always fall short. High expectations, but they can't do anything.
So what's going to happen when they got to face Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Mississippi State?
Get their ass kicked.
Yeah. Somebody's going to take a stick, Andy, and take them out back and beat the hell out of them. That's what's going to happen when it comes down to it. And I'll say this. I was listening to a buddy of mine does sports talk this morning, and they always want to, bitch and moan and complain and blame it on a head coach. Well, the head coach is only as good as his recruiting class that he brings in. Well, I go back to this guy because I loved Tom Herman and was a huge fan before Sark got there. People don't realize Herman had 50 games coached at Texas. I did a little research today just off the top of my head. Tom Herman was 32-18, Andy, at the University of Texas. Won a Sugar Bowl and had, of course, the powerhouse stats at Houston. But there was that change that 7-4, 7-5, whatever it was, 8-4, those wins weren't enough. So the Booster Club and everybody else decided there needed to be a change. And what is that, 3 or 4 head coaches?
Look, when you're Texas, you should not be losing 3, 4, 5 games a year. That's the bottom line.
I agree. I totally agree. But, man, things are fixing to turn. And I'm not saying it's just because I'm an SEC guy and I live in Tennessee and in Kentucky. But, dude, you guys are jumping on this side of the Red River. Holy crap, man! Y'all going to get a black eye every Saturday.
Yeah,
that's it. And I'm an Aggie fan, so I got high expectations this year with.
Well, yeah, okay. So you know how it is.
Yeah, I'm Aggies and Baylor. I covered Baylor.
Thing. And man, my hat's off to Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies. When you can join the SEC and stand flat-footed and swat the Wasps that Jimbo Fisher has done for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Of good success, 2 to 3 years, man. I mean, my hat's off to Texas A&M. Now, I do think their recruiting is about to change now that Texas is jumping in the SEC. But yeah, it's interesting times, my friends.
Yeah,
interesting times.
It sure is, and I tell you, we're gonna have a good time this week with the Louisiana Saturday night in Texas. Helotes, Pedrati's Ranch, doors open at 5. Concert begins at 6. A fantastic artist opening. The Nick Lawrence Band. I'll be doing some MC stuff out there with our good partners at Full Circle Moments, LLC.com. You can get tickets there, and also ticketbud.com. And then, of course, the great Andy Griggs and also Chris Cagle putting in a great Louisiana Saturday night in Texas for you guys. So feel free to buy the tickets. And, of course, it looks like we may have a winner there. I've got to check it off there. I'll check with my good friend Merlene Cox because the professional milestone that Andy received this year, we'll see if we can accept that. The way it was phrased, I'll check off air with Merlene and see if we can give away those tickets there. Andy, always a class act, my friend. And hey, when the new music comes out, brother, you got a platform here to speak out and perform. I know you guys are expecting new music. Congratulations on being a new father. And man, you're welcome back here anytime, brother.
Brandon, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, when I do come out with new music, man, I do want to talk to you and Nick. Man, thank you guys for.
We appreciate you, buddy.
And like I said, I'm looking forward to getting down there and stirring the pot of gumbo, so to speak.
Hey, chicken and sausage for me.
Yeah, it's an indoor concert coming up this week, too, so we don't have to battle the heat there in Helotes, but it's going to be a great Saturday night, too. Temperature expected to be pretty good weather coming up this week, too. So it'll be a lot of fun. Benji and everybody, Full Circle Moments, and all our sponsors there. Thanks for making it possible. Thanks to MitchMax.com, our friends at Hank Jr. Productions, and Bangtail Whiskey. And, of course, we'll try to get a winner off air there. Professional milestone for Andy Griggs here in 2022. Make sure you do that. We'll see if we can make that winner off the air. Want to make sure we get the name and all the details right for those VIP tickets. Coming up tomorrow, Olivia Rose on the Backstage Pass, Alana Springsteen, and, of course, also this week, Kirsty Krause coming by to talk about her new album, too. Also visit andygriggs.com, and, of course, when the new music comes out, we'll get him back on the show. We'll see you this week, Louisiana Saturday night in Texas and Helotes with Andy Griggs, Chris Cagle, and the Nick Lawrence Band. Until then, you guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon here from the Backstage Pass. Take care.